But the first target of the German Luftwaffe was not London. The first target was our airfields. The Germans knew that they had massive superiority of numbers, and the opening statistics are around about, very roughly, about 700 British aeroplanes to 2,600 American planes. We knew we were massively outnumbered, and therefore we had to play a slightly tactical game. The Germans were attacking shipping, but the Royal Air Force, the RAF, they refused to be drawn, they refused to retaliate, because they wanted to keep our powder dry to basically to defend the country, because given the fact that we're so outnumbered, and so shipping took a battering, and they started attacking the ports on the edge of the coast. And the story goes, and this started kind of mid-August 1940, and it was on the 24th of August that one of the German aeroplanes either made a terrible mistake, or just thought he'd try it on, because he strayed away from the port and came actually much closer into London and dropped the very first bombs. This is one aeroplane here in the city of London. English immediately retaliated, and the following night bombs were dropped on Berlin. Now you can imagine Hitler's reaction. He was furious. He did have a respect for this country, our history and our tradition, but for him it wasn't a case of if this country comes under his control, it was when. And so he immediately responded and planning attacks on London. The unintended consequence of that was it gave the Royal Air Force a crucial breathing space. It allowed them to regroup, to repair craft, to repair any damaged runways in the various bases around the country. And it's really bizarre to think that by Hitler allowing himself to get deflected in this way, and of course not the first time that was to happen, so that when the raid started in London on the 7th of September, it was actually giving the Royal Air Force this crucial breathing space. The Blitz and the so-called Battle of Britain carried on pretty much through till May, and as I say, there was one period here in London where there was 76 consecutive nights of bombing. But Hitler couldn't understand why we weren't giving in. He couldn't understand, what was this whole resistance thing? What was our problem? What was our problem? And it was huge amounts of damage, but he kind of had to give up on the idea of invading this country. He had his army lined up on the French coast, waiting to come across, and it really came very close to literally, we nearly ran out of aeroplanes. I mean, it really got that bad. It really got that close. I think it's often speculated a few more nights of bombing and he would have got control of the skies. But things happened the way they did. Germans stopped, and Hitler decided to turn his attention to the east, and that was that fateful decision, which in many ways was the beginning of his end, that he would go east and invade Russia. And I'm assuming that you've covered that part of the campaign, and it really was the beginning of the end. London's got a bit of a breathing space.